Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Premier Enterprise Realty and Premier Enterprise Series Ask Real Estate Attorney. Today, we are going to cover the very important topic. It's called partition. And that topic is going to be presented by our great attorney, Jonathan May, who's been with Premier Enterprise Realty for a very long time. But before we proceed, let me just introduce myself. My name is Marina Galushka, and I'm the real estate broker and owner of Premier Enterprise Realty and Premier Enterprise Realty Plus. Some people already know our company. A lot of people, they know our company. And for those who do not know our company still, I'm going to briefly tell you who we are. We are 100% commission company. And you may say, well, so what? There are a lot of 100% commission companies on the market. But what makes us different is that we don't charge any fee. A lot of 100% commission companies, they claim to be 100% commission, but they charge fees. And those fees, hi, Dominic, we have the guest. And we are 100% commission company, as I said. But what makes us different, again, I will repeat, is that we don't charge any fees. There are a lot of companies on the market who claim to be 100% commissions, but they charge different types of fees that are applied to realtors. Monthly fee, sign-up fee, desk fee, compliance fee, royalty fee, I've seen even that. We do not charge realtors any fee. All sales commissions, they go to our realtors without any deductions, any subtractions, any fees, any tricks. And not only that, what makes us different is that we provide lots of other features. For example, we provide free unlimited leads. Show me the company on the market that provides free unlimited leads. Maybe there are companies like that, but I just don't know. But I've never seen any companies that give realtors free unlimited leads in my many years of practice in real estate. Also, we have very modern, convenient features such as ACH direct deposit for realtors, get paid at closing, and everything is designed in our company for our realtors' convenience and satisfaction. You don't need to drive to the office. You don't need to worry. You don't need to call me. You just wake up in the morning and money is already on your account. Convenience, isn't it? That's how we are. Also, we pay for errors and omission insurance, and we have a great insurance, and our company pays for that. You don't pay. I know lots of companies, they require realtors to purchase errors and omission insurance. We don't. We pay for your errors and omission insurance. Also, we provide unlimited daily broker support. My realtors call me 24/7 broker, and that's what it is. My realtors can call me at midnight on Saturday morning, on Sunday night, and I'm always available for my realtors because this company is my life. It's my every breath. That's what I love to do. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy to do. My realtors, they're like a family to me, and every time they call me, I'm very glad to speak with them. So keep calling me. And I strongly believe in education. I graduated myself from UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. And I have degrees in sciences that help me to do research, to stay on top of current up-to-date information in real estate. And being the strong believer in education, we have a lot of webinars, seminars, training at our company. At Premier Enterprise Realty, you will never be alone. You will always feel that you have the great backup of professional team that gives you the most updated knowledge. And I see that Jonathan smiling there, and welcome, John. And what's the most important, we have the very rare, unique feature. We have the great attorney at our company, Jonathan May, who provides free legal consultations exclusively for realtors at Premier Enterprise Realty. So not only you get 100% commissions at our Premier Enterprise Realty Company, you will get outstanding, I repeat that, 24/7 broker support and legal support provided by our amazing, I'm not afraid of that word, amazing attorney, Jonathan May, the owner of the Lions Den Attorneys at Law. Why I keep saying amazing? Not just because Jonathan is a good friend of mine that I know for many years. I truly admire Jonathan, and let me briefly tell you what makes him standing out. Before I proceed, John, hi, how are you? I see you there. Do you see me? Do you hear me? Hello. You
yes,
see,
thank you.
You hear me? Wonderful, wonderful. I will put your screen on the big screen in a few seconds, but just before I do so, let me give you the brief introduction to those who are not familiar with the Lions Den Attorneys at Law. And let me briefly tell you who they are. Lions Den is different from many other law firms. Why? Because it's led by outstanding attorney Jonathan May, who is not just a great professional experienced lawyer. He is more than that. He is the one who teaches people. He is the professor at the Miami-Dade College. So that's what makes him standing out and put him aside from other practitioners, because he not just practices, he also teaches people who do or will practice. And being an educator, the great professor, that's what makes him standing out. And that's what my realtors like about him, because he's very detailed. A lot of lawyers, they have a lot of great knowledge, but not having knowledge, it's not just the only key to be successful in this field or any field. Ability to convey those knowledge, ability to clearly present those knowledge, that's what makes you the truly great professional. Because if you cannot transmit those knowledge to the general public or to your client or to your audience, then, well, it doesn't make you the best. But Jonathan, not only he has the great knowledge, he has an ability to convey those knowledge, being the great professor and teacher and educator. Not only that, Jonathan is the author of the book, and his book is great. So if you would like to read his book, please contact Jonathan and he will provide you the information on how to obtain the book. Very interesting. So he's also the author. Now you have three amazing qualities: being the great experienced practitioner, being the great writer, and being the great professor and educator. That's what makes Jonathan standing out. And we are very happy and we're very honored at Premier Enterprise Realty that we have this privilege of John giving us his professional service, his attention, his consultations, and the most importantly, we are very grateful that Jonathan does it for free for our realtors at Premier Enterprise Realty, and only for our realtors. Of course, if you have any legal questions or issues, you're very welcome to appeal to John. Contact John. His fees are very reasonable, and his service is amazing. But for realtors at Premier Enterprise Realty, you guys got the privilege of having John's amazing service, consultations for free. Welcome to bring your questions to us and we will gladly answer. Today is going to be the topic. By the way, before we proceed again to the topic, I want to mention one important thing. According to statistics, it's not what I said, it's what I've read on the internet, that according to statistics, nearly 1,000 people move from New York to Florida per day. And John has an affiliation in New York. He has 3 offices. One is in Brickell, one is in Tampa, Brickell, Miami, Tampa, Florida, and affiliation in Manhattan, New York. So if you have clients who are selling in New York and they want to move to Florida to buy the property, you're very welcome to contact John, because he will provide the professional expertise not only in Florida, but he also has affiliation in Manhattan, New York, to consult your clients. And before we proceed to the topic, the last comment I want to make, it's a disclosure that Premier Enterprise Realty and I, broker, are not affiliated with Lyons Then Attorneys at Law or Jonathan May. So we do not financially or otherwise benefit. And this Premier Enterprise series is just informative webinars that we present to our attention. And whatever I say is just my personal opinion based on the experience with Jonathan May. That's why I'm not afraid to recommend him, because my experience, my realtor's experience with him is outstanding, truly outstanding. So now let's get started. We have guests here. We will have more people coming up. This webinar is going to be recorded and placed on YouTube. And for this purpose, I muted everyone except for Jonathan and myself, of course, because I'm a host, to provide Jonathan ability to speak and to convey the information in a smooth, uninterrupted manner. Again, this webinar is going to be recorded and is going to be placed on YouTube and other social media. So let's welcome Jonathan May. Today, the topic is partition. Welcome, Jonathan. Nice to see you. Now you're on the big screen. We are both together. Let's get started. Partition. Why we've chosen partition? Because I personally had a horrible experience many, many years ago. I wish I was at Premier Enterprise Realty at that time, but Premier Enterprise Realty was not created, and I've never met Jonathan May. I've never knew any attorney of Jonathan's level who would advise me and my client. I was totally lost. I was totally hopeless. And that was the one of the very few transactions that I unfortunately lost. And you may face that situation too. That's why we want you to be strong on that topic. We want you to be safe on that topic. We want you to be confident on that topic. And of course, unless you are an attorney, you cannot consult your clients, but now you know what to do. You have John, you can call him. You can contact me and I will forward all information to John. Partition, some people know what it is, some people don't. Let's start from the very brief definition. What is partition by definition? Please tell us, John.
Wonderful. So, yeah, I apologize. I had some internet difficulties, but it's so much fun to come on. I'm so thankful and humbled. And Marina, you're so wonderful. And I can't say enough nice things about you and how great you are and how great you are to your to the realtors that work with the brokerage. And so just thank you. And for the definition of partition, it's a legal process through which property is divided among multiple property owners. And so that's kind of like a simplification, and I'm trying to make it the easiest to understand as I can. But essentially, you have a property that may be owned by a former husband and wife or brothers and sisters that they got through probate, and they want to do different things. Maybe one wants some money out of it, and the other wants to add to the property. And so the law has to find ways to appease those parties, whether it's saying, no, you can't do it, or you're going to sell the property and split the proceeds, or we're going to divide up the property for each of you. So like when it's, say it's farmland, it's really easy to divide. But if you have a big mansion, it's not easy to divide. So the law is designed for many different scenarios and adapting to those specific scenarios.
I think we have like a mild internet connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Since it's an interactive webinar, so we're going to be going back and forth, and I will be asking John questions. As John just said, I want to outline and I want to kind of like point out that there are several types of partitions. They have abbreviation, legal names. We will get to that point. But the main thing you will see is either land that one person wants to use as a farm and another person does not want to use it as a farm, or he wants to build factory, or he doesn't want to build anything. Or it's the residential property. And as Jonathan fairly said, land is very easy to divide. You just divide the land and each person gets his parcel according to whatever he's entitled to. Once it comes to the big mansion or small apartment, my situation was very small, tiny apartment, and it was such a, I'm not going to say such a mess, but I cannot find another word, because we started transaction very smoothly and everything fell apart just because one owner wanted to sell and another owner did not want to sell. So once it comes to land, it's basically either improvement versus non-improvement. I want to build a farm, I want to build the agricultural field, I want to build something, I want to improve, and another person, I do not want to do anything, or I want to do otherwise. And they have a conflict that cannot be resolved by peacefully between each other or by mediation, and then they need the legal assistance. They need a lawyer such as Jonathan May, who is experienced and professional in real estate and other issues related to real estate. But once it comes to an apartment, how can you divide an apartment? You cannot divide an apartment physically because it's a stationary, it's undivided. You need to do something about it. You need to sell, right? You cannot divide or mention.
Selling is one option, or buy out by the other parties could be another option for the market value.
Yeah, or buy out. Again, as a realtor, you cannot consult the client and tell him, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that, because you will be held liable for practicing law without having the law license, without being an attorney. But you can always appeal to John and he will consult you on the steps. Before we proceed to how this procedure is handled, let's just go to definition of partition. There are types of definition. One is the actual partition, and another is partition by siltation or succession, or partition by sale. Actual partition is it cuts the interest of joint parties. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, it's a land. It's very common for the land, and as far as I've read, as far as I know, and it just cuts the property in portions, and that's how resolution is obtained. The licitation partition, or partition by sale, when property is sold to provide the parties with portion of that proceed, is basically that what we are going to be focused today, that licitation partition or partition by sale or succession, because that what, as far as I understand and as far as I experienced, required the real estate attorney. And again, let's just talk about that. What is that jurisdictional partition process? So how does it work? Let's say I have the family member or I have the business partner, we own the property. Let's just speak about particular scenario. We own the property and we disagree. I want to improve, he doesn't want to improve, or the other way around. And we reached the point when we cannot reach the peaceful resolution. Then we proceeded to mediation. Their mutual agreement, it did not help. And now we seek for the legal advice. We both are at the point where we say, I want to call the lawyer, and we call Jonathan May. What are the steps? What shall we do?
Yeah, so the first thing we look at is, essentially trying to mediate. We don't need a mediator to discuss, but can either party buy out the other party? Can they agree to sale? If they can't, then we have to move forward with an action. We only need one party on behalf of to do a partition action. And then we need strong legal reasoning of why they can't work it out or figure it out. And so we have to convince the court that it needs to be done. If we can do that, the court is going to assign essentially a third party, typically it's an attorney, that's going to oversee the sale, the funds, and then the distribution of the funds. So that's the process. Probably the hardest part of the process is getting the appropriate third party and and their oversight of the sale, getting the right price, hoping parties are happy with the price, and then moving forward with that. I mean, the easiest, idea is just to get the appraisal, and hopefully you get an offer at the appraisal. If not, you get the next highest offer over time. But sometimes it takes time. You know what I mean? This isn't a type of process that moves quickly typically, unless you can reach an agreement. It takes a lot of time, but you'll eventually get to where you need to be of getting the funds that you need through the property.
I'm very glad that John mentioned one thing, and that was my next question. Well, I know the answer, but that was my next question to John, so he would highlight it to the audience, to you people. He mentioned one thing: only one party needs to proceed and push forward that lawsuit that John or any other attorney is going to file. Because you can read on the internet, it's very available information right now. You can read definition as I'm reading. I can read from the Google right now. Intentional partition versus jurisdictional partition. Many instances, partition action are intention or voluntary. So basically, let's say I have a partner, I want to create the farm. He does not want to create the farm. He wants to build a factory, or he doesn't want to create or build anything. We disagree. But we disagree voluntarily that we cannot proceed in business anymore. It's better if we part, and we both agree to do something about it. We are voluntary, we are peaceful, even though we are not satisfied with whatever point we reached, but we're still peaceful, and it's called intentional. Our partition is intentional. I wish every partition will be intentional, but unfortunately, reality is not the same. My reality, like I say, I lost the deal. I cannot disclose you legal details, but I lost the deal many, many years ago when I was a realtor. I did not have a strong broker support. I did not have the great attorney by the side, as we have right now, Jonathan May. I was not at Premier Enterprise Realty because Premier Enterprise Realty did not exist at that time. And I was lost, client was lost. That was a situation which is very common. One person wants to do something about property, and the other person doesn't want to do anything about the property, and they cannot reach voluntary decision. And that's when partition by a jurisdictional partition takes place, when, as John said, one person goes to the lawyer and only one person needs to file because the second person does not cooperate, right?
Exactly.
So what is the time frame? Let's say I have a partner who does not cooperate. It's not going to be intentional partition which is a voluntary. He just does not, or she does not cooperate, and I proceed because I don't want to sit and wait any longer. What is the time frame, from approximate, of course, from the moment I walked into your office or make you the phone call to you to the point it's done? What is the time frame they're looking at?
So if it's uncontested, it probably would take at least a year. And if it is contested, it could take much, much, much longer because there's, so many different motions that you have to go through that you're required to. And then they can do motions prior to those motions. And it just delays, it can be delayed pretty strongly, pretty drastically.
Okay.
Based on if it's a good attorney.
Before we proceed,
and
we want to clarify.
But it can move faster than a year potentially.
Okay, good.
A little bit faster.
You mentioned the word contentional, so please define. And you mentioned the word motion. Some people know, some people don't. Please define. Like I said at the beginning, okay. Partition is not as simple as it may sound when you Google it. It's a division by parts. No, it's not that simple. So please define.
So a motion is when you're asking the court to do a specific action that's allowed by law. And so there's limitations on what you can do. And then in addition to every motion, there's motions that come before every motion. Like a motion to strike can come before a motion to, grant the sale of a property. And so you would have to hear the motion to strike prior to hearing the motion to grant the sale of the property. And then every time you're trying to set a once you submit a motion, you have to wait to actually get a hearing before the judge. And that's based on their time schedule. So some judges have open schedule, you can set the times easily. Some of them you can't set hearings for months or longer, depending on their, the situation at that time, and it differs over time. If you have a real estate crisis and you have a foreclosure judge, you're not going to get a hearing before that judge for a really long time based on the current economic climate and the mass influx of foreclosures at that time, because if hypothetically if there's a real estate crisis. But if the economy is doing great and there's hardly any foreclosures being submitted, you can get in front of the judge really quickly and you can discuss your matter. And so it's really hard to tell as an attorney, and we really can't tell other than if you had the same motion in front of the same judge and you set it, within the last month, and you knew how long it took then you would know how long it would take, because you're currently, dealing with that specific situation in front of that specific court. But that's a motion. And what was the other definition you asked for?
That was the most important, because you mentioned that, and some people, they know that, some people don't. Like I say, realtors not consult the clients, but realtors need to be aware of where they're getting into, because you may get a listing and you're going to be very happy that you will sell, and especially right now, market is very active, and then you will get stuck when one owner wants to sell and the other owner does not want to sell. And that was my case many, many years ago. And I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this video, they have had that case or they've heard about that. So we want you to be very strong and confident on what to do. First, of course, refer the client to the real estate professional, such as Jonathan May or other professionals. And second, be aware that this is not the dead end. The problem will be or can be resolved if your client takes appropriate steps and ask for an advice of the professional attorney. Few more questions. We are in 2020. 2020 year is very different, because of the coronavirus, because of the situation that we are living in, and we are adjusting to that situation. Is partition going to be longer, or since now all hearings are by Zoom, it's the same time frame, or is going to be longer in 2020 this year?
It's been faster. Things have been a lot more efficient with doing court hearings over Zoom, which has been wonderful.
That's what I noticed. I work more efficiently because I don't need to put on the makeup every day, drive to the office every day, have meetings every day. I consult my realtors on Zoom. Well, I still need to put on the makeup, but driving, walking, all that time is safe. And I consult my realtors on Zoom and by phone 24/7. And I noticed that I've always worked very efficiently. My realtors say, wow, you don't walk, you run. And I say, well, you don't know me, I don't run, I fly. And now I really feel like I'm flying, but I'm glad that Jonathan mentioned that. So don't be afraid of the partition. Don't be afraid that year 2020 will slow you down. Jonathan just said that hearings are very efficient. Another question, hearing. The client will need to appear at the hearing, but what about the other party, the party who does not cooperate, and the party, because of that party, the whole problem arises? Does that party, non-cooperating party, need to be present at the court, or only petitioner and lawyer need to be present?
So if the other party doesn't appear, they forego their rights, that's what you want. The goal is you don't have opposition, that they forego all the rights, and then the judge will grant what you're asking them to grant, and you can move forward. If they do appear, then the judge will hear both sides, and they'll make a decision based on what they think is fair and in compliance with the law. And so definitely hope they don't appear, but you just have to be ready either way.
Okay, great. And the last question, like I said, partition is a very complex topic. And when we have those Premier Enterprise series and we highlight whatever topic we highlight at that particular time, We just briefly cover the definition, the main points, aspects, just highlighting. If you want to know more details, you are welcome to either join Premier Enterprise Realty if you're a realtor, and we will have our hourly seminars where we highlight more, we highlight topics in depth, when we go like really deeply, and Jonathan gives us more of his time. Or you can call Jonathan directly, but keep in mind, if you're a realtor at Premier Enterprise Realty, you get those consultations for free. That's a privilege that Jonathan May gives us. Other than that, you are very welcome. If you have any questions about partition or any other topic, you're very welcome to contact Jonathan May and the Lions Day Attorneys at Law. And he has offices in Brickell, Miami, Tampa, and affiliation in Manhattan, New York, which is a very valuable feature these days because a lot of clients, they move from New York to Florida, as statistics says on Google. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for your knowledge, for your professional expertise. Like I say, Jonathan May, he is a great lawyer, not even mentioning that he's a very great, cooperating, polite, respectful, responsive person. He is a great professional lawyer who is an educated, and as you just saw, he knows every topic he covers in real depth, very deeply, very detailed, very great lawyer. So if you are clear on how to handle partition in general, we are happy. If you are still having questions or comments, you are very welcome to write to us, and we will see you next time with great and highly important topic, very important topic. It's going to be probate. A lot of people ask about probate, and we will highlight probate during our next session. That was Marina Galushka, real estate broker and owner of Premier Enterprise Realty, 100% commission company, no fees for realtors, and Jonathan May, attorney at law and owner of the Lions Den Attorneys at Law, with offices in Brickell, Miami, Tampa, and affiliation in New York, Manhattan. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for your time, and we will see you next month. We're in November, almost in November. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, and thank you again for your knowledge and your time. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks, Joel.